Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the community meeting for West Dallas STEM School. I am Marian Jackson, and I get the pleasure of serving as the West Dallas inaugural STEM School principal. And tonight I'm going to facilitate this meeting along with members of our architectural team and other members of our Dallas ISD staff. Our objective this evening is to update you on the progress of our building and answer any questions you may have. Now, if you're joining us on Facebook, please submit your questions in the comment section. As time allows, the presenters will address as many questions as they can during the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. We will be recording this meeting and will share it on our website and our YouTube channel. So we'd like to acknowledge our trustee, Mr. Maxie Johnson, in his absence, and would like to invite him, if he does show up, to give us some remarks at that time. But again, on behalf of the Office of Transformation and Innovation and the School Leadership Department in Dallas ISD, thank you for joining us. Now I'd like to turn it over to our architectural team, who will give us the progress on our building. Ola?
Well, thank you, and I appreciate everyone joining us for this update on the West Dallas STEM School. I'm going to run through a fairly presentation, giving some updates. We have a short agenda. We're going to look at the current master plan, which is looking at the fully built out facility. We're also going to get into the community spaces, a little more detail. We're going to look at the schedule and the facing. And then we have some concepts for classrooms as well as the exterior to share with you. So I'm going to start showing this is the existing floor plan, first floor plan of the school. As you can see, it has a gymnasium on the east side, shops and industrial vehicle shops on the west, science labs on the front, administration, auditorium in the middle, and cafeteria in the back, and then classrooms and science labs on the back. Now, part of this building is one story. It's got some two-story and some three-story, and you'll see that in the plans moving forward. There are also several courtyards that we are exploring opportunities for. Second floor, classrooms, home ec, a library, more classrooms, and a collegiate academy on the west side. On the third floor, that's only the south, east and southwest wing, have more collegiate academy and classrooms. Now, our current master plan are not utilizing the third floor, but it's available for future expansion or for swing space during the construction. Looking at, this is the proposed site plan. So what you see in darker gray here is proposed new parking. We're proposing some new parking on the northwest side. And that would be visitors and access to the community side of the building. We're also looking at filling in some open land on the south of the existing teacher parking to provide more spaces. We're also looking at enhance the drives around the southwest wing. The football field, baseball, and softball fields are going to remain in place where they are. So on the first floor, this is the current master plan, and the way it's laid out is administration is on the southeast piece of the north end of the building. Community and specialized counseling will be on the west side with its own entrance. STEM spaces in the existing industrial area. Athletics will remain where it is. Pre-K and K will eventually be housed in the southwest wing on the ground floor with its own entrance. First and second grade on the southeast wing. Cafeteria will remain where it is with upgrades. And then performing arts, SPED will be located in the central part of the ground floor. We have a library for the youngsters indicated near the courtyard here. And we have a STEM space at the other courtyard. We are looking at doing some remodel on the north end of the auditorium. The majority of the auditorium will stay as it is, but we are opening it up for collaboration space near the main entrance to provide a more open area as you walk into the facility. This is an enlarged plan of the community area, which is the northwest wing with its own entrance. So it is a secure area separated from the rest of the school. We have the community piece being accessed from the main entrance with a food pantry, reception. We have touchdown stations that will be available for community as well as students, huddle spaces. We have a parent center and a sibling room that's being accessed by its own entrance, as well as a counseling area in the same suite. On the second floor, we are housing the third and fourth graders in this area, fifth and sixth graders on the north east. We upgrade the library and provide some STEM spaces adjacent to the library. We have the eighth graders housed in this wing, and the seventh graders housed on the southwest side. And we have some art spaces and science in the center. Marian, are you on?
Yes.
Okay, well, you want to take this one then?
I sure will.
Okay.
And so right now in our current year, 2020, 2021, we're continuing to plan and co-design and prepare our building for our 7th and 8th graders that will be joining us in the fall of 2021. In August of 2022, we're going to welcome our pre-K, kinder, and first grade students, followed by our second graders in 2023. Our third grade scholars will join us in 2024, and we will bring our fourth graders in the year of 2025. In 2026, our fifth grade students will join us, and we will complete our student enrollment with the addition of our sixth graders in 2027. Ola?
But unmute. Okay, so with that information, we can move into the overall schedule that we are working within now. And we have been working with a district going back to September of 19, starting with design charrettes, working out program, having several community meetings. We're currently in design phase. In March of 21, going back to the enrollment schedule, we're going to start preparing the spaces to allow for the 7th and 8th graders to be in there as it opens. And in August 22, the PK1 opens. And then in August 23, the full facility will be ready to receive students as they start coming in based on the enrollment schedule. So it's a long process, but it works out pretty well based on the enrollment schedules. So
Well, before you continue, can you explain what touchdown stations are?
Going back to this one.
Yes, can you explain what touchdown stations are?
They're basically open workstations that has power and internet, where someone can come in, sit down, hook up their laptop or a borrowed device, and access internet and do work. And it's a community service, but it's also available for students that come in either early or late to find a space to sit and work on their devices. So it's open workstations basically. That's not assigned to someone specific. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that clarification around.
And the huddle rooms are basically small conference rooms that can be booked and for a smaller group to get together and do any sort of project that is within that community space. So it's a great asset to the community. So
thank you for doing that.
Okay. And we went over the schedule, and we can go back to this if there are questions on it. The initial work, while while the high school is still in session, we're going to work back in area 7 and 5 and prepare those so that they're ready to house the 7th and 8th graders, and then the PreK-1 when they come in. And after that, we can secure these areas and get to work on area 2, which is the community area and the admin area, and upgrading the auditorium. So we're working very closely with the district to schedule these so that it's a safe environment for everyone. We have access to the spaces without cross traffic with the contractor while work is going on. Same on level 2. Area 5 is going to be worked on early on, and then the rest will be picked up in phase 2. And the community wall is something that's been brought up in previous meetings, that it's an important aspect of the school to bring in the community. This is a system that allows magnetic tiles that can be printed and installed, and then if there's a desire to upgrade exhibit or change it out, it's easy to pull it off and put on a new graphics. So we thought that was a pretty brilliant idea to allow for the exchangeability this system allows for. Moving forward, classrooms. The idea of transparency and being able to open up the spaces and let them flow into, say, the corridor or a collaboration space is something we really want to integrate into this design, so that we get away from the standard classroom and we have more of a open and transparent environment where it allows for flexibility in the learning environment. So this is one idea. Here's some ideas on different collaboration spaces, individual workstations, or seating areas where the students can sit together and collaborate. So we're looking at integrating these type of spaces into the project. Again, transparency, openness. The immersion studio is kind of an interesting concept where it's basically continuous screens around, and it allows the students to kind of travel anywhere based on what the subject is that can be shown on these screens around the space. On the exterior, we're looking at upgrading the facade with some new skin, new windows, new canopy at the main entrance, and we're preparing this canopy to receive solar panels as we move forward. It'll have the infrastructure to accept those. We're also looking at water cistern for water recapturing to support irrigation. So that is the presentation, and I'm gonna turn it back on over to Marian.
Thank you, Ola. And I will pivot to Ms. Bell. Do we have any questions in our chat room or on our Facebook page?
Yes, we do have a new question that just came in. I remind everyone, if you're viewing us on Facebook, please ask your questions in the comments section. And in our chat room, we have a question. I know that the community is a vital partner of West Dallas STEM School. Likewise, wraparound service providers are key. Where is space for the school-embedded nonprofits, student instruction intervention spaces, meeting spaces, and office spaces? Ola, can you go to those slides and address that?
I think this is a slide we need to look at, since this is the community. So the touchdown stations, the huddle rooms, food pantry, are all intended to be serving the community for these services. So that is how we're kind of approaching that part of it.
In addition to that, there is a lot of untapped space in the building as well. And so if the opportunity arises and we need the additional space to house more community resources or partners, then we have the space to do that. I think this phase that Ola was mentioning, the touchdown stations, can and will be used by some of our nonprofits, as well as some of the huddle and office spaces there can be used interchangeably by any member of the community as well as our nonprofit partners. Okay. So do we have any other questions in the chat room, Ms. Bell? I think I saw one just pop in.
So yes, we have a question. If you could share again when the phased-in entry will occur, what year?
So the full build out of the school will be in August 23. That's when the community space, the admin, everything on the north end will be available for use. That is the schedule as of right now. In August 21 and August 22, it's primarily the southeast and southwest wing will operate for the 7th, 8th graders and the PK1. And it will be secured from the northern piece of the school while that work is going on. Hopefully that answered the question.
Yes, we have another question. Will phase 1 construction take place while students are on campus?
Yes, it will, but students will be relocated, and the area of construction will be secured from the school. So there will be no cross traffic between students and contractors. It'll be completely separated. And the way the school is laid out, the site allows for that to happen, since we have separate entrances to those wings.
Again, if anyone has a question either on Facebook, viewing us on Facebook, or in the Zoom on this meeting, please submit your questions in the chat room or in the comments section on Facebook. Here we do have another question. I would like to see a washer and dryer for families that need a place to wash their clothes by the Parent Center. This is a question from Facebook.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Principal Jackson, if you would like to address that, or other resources that may be available for parents and families.
Absolutely. Thank you for your question. That is something that we've talked about in detail, about adding as a resource for our students or families that may need that. So that is the plan, to add that to a portion or somewhere in our building, so our students or our families will have access to that. With the square footage of our Parent Center, I'm not sure if that's where it can be located, but I can tell you that we do have plans to include that in our building.
Yeah. Yes, we have another question. Where will the wraparound providers be housed when the school opens? And I'm thinking they're referencing also how people would enter the building to access these services. So, and Ola, Principal Jackson, if you could answer the question of where will the wraparound providers be housed, and how people would enter the building in order to receive those services?
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry for that. The slide that he has here is where those wraparound services will be housed. If you will look to the left-hand side of your screen, there is an area there where people will be allowed to enter and exit for those wraparound services, and that is just for privacy issues. And so if they don't want to come in through the main entry, we made sure to include an entrance where there will be some privacy to support those families that are utilizing those wraparound services. Does that answer your question?
Okay, we have another, I believe that does. We do have another question coming in from Facebook. I cannot get my child enrolled in their old school. I enrolled her online, but she does not show in the new school. I think this might be a question that, I'm not sure if this relates directly to your school or not, but I think it may be a general question. Can you help, Principal Jackson, can you help parents understand how they can? Yes.
Absolutely. If you will contact your current school where your child should be enrolled, and if you can ask them to let you speak with the registrar, and the registrar can confirm whether your child is enrolled or not. And if they're not, it's easy. They can enroll them online with you. or you can, I know there's procedures that are set up now for parents to enroll online, but they can talk you through that process. So if your child is not going to be attending that school, but attending another school, I would recommend that you do the same. Simply contact the school, ask for the registrar's office, and that register can guide you through the process of making sure that your child is enrolled for school.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Again, if you have a question regarding the West Dallas STEM School and the proposed renovations to this campus, creating this new school, please submit them in the chat window. They will be shared and answered. If you're viewing us on Facebook, of course, please submit any questions in the comment section on Facebook, and we're more than happy to answer them. Here we have another question coming in. During phase 1 construction, where will nonprofits and they're asking again about the nonprofit and wraparound service during phase 1 construction. So during the actual construction, where will the nonprofits and wraparound providers be located? Because the community center seems as though it will be a part of that phase 1 construction. Ola or Principal Jackson, if either one of you could address that.
Ola, can you address that? Because I know we do have some plans for some temporary housing while that area is being constructed.
Well, as it is, since it is a active high school, in general, access and services will not change immediately. But the idea that we're looking at and how we're going to approach it is that in phase 1, which is a fairly quick phase, we're going to prep area 7, and this is prior to the PreK-8 moving in, but it could house certain community services and the admin while the work is going on in the rest of the school. So that's an idea of that we're approaching. I don't know if that answers it, but we have to go through fixed space before we can actually provide any sort of space. But that goal is to have that done by, I believe, August 21.
In addition to that, we still have the 3rd floor. So we do have space in the building where we can house providers during the construction phase of area 2 that Ola just mentioned. So we do have a plan, and if those services cannot or will not be in area 7, then we do have that additional space on the 3rd floor to help meet that temporary need.
We're going to begin wrapping up the meeting. If anyone has any additional questions, please submit them at this time. Okay, Principal Jackson, I think we may have received our last question for the evening. Please, and again, I remind everyone that a copy of the presentation and the video will be available on the district's website at www.dallasisd.org/bond, BOND 2015 meetings. And you'll be able to view that and it'll also be uploaded on our district's YouTube channel, and of course, available for view on Facebook. So thank you for a great meeting. Principal Jackson, if you want to close us out, please.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bell, for helping to facilitate this community meeting this evening. And thank all of you for joining us this evening. We are still in the planning phase, and we welcome your input and your thoughts as we continue to develop our community school, the West Dallas STEM School. Again, thank you so much for your time this evening. And to stay up to date on this and other Bond 2015 projects, feel free to visit www.dallasisd.org/bond 2015. Enjoy the rest of your evening.